Let's be real. In the cloud, things are going to break. It's just a fact of life. So the question isn't if your system will fail, it's how it will fail, and more importantly, what you do about it. In this explainer, we're not just talking about surviving an outage. We're going to dive into how you can architect a system that actually learns from failure and gets stronger every single time. So, picture this. Your phone is blowing up with alerts. Your monitoring dashboards are just a sea of angry red, and your application, which is spread across AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud, it's completely dead in the water. Customers are furious, your team is scrambling, and you have no idea if this is one massive failure or three separate problems all hitting at the same time. It's a total nightmare, right? The pressure is just immense. Yeah, that feeling, that absolute chaos. This is precisely why having a solid plan isn't just a nice to have, it's non-negotiable. When every single second of downtime is costing you money, you just can't afford to be making things up as you go. You need a blueprint, something to guide you out of the chaos and into clarity. But before we even think about looking at a single log file, we have to talk about the people. Because honestly, none of the technical details matter if the culture is wrong. The entire foundation of an effective incident response is what we call a blameless mindset. Now, a blameless postmortem isn't some get-out-of-jail-free card. It's about creating psychological safety. It's about making it safe for an engineer to raise their hand and say, you know what, I think I might have made a mistake here, without any fear of being punished. When people feel safe, information flows freely, and you find the real root cause way faster. And that translates directly to shorter outages, and frankly, it saves a lot of money. The whole goal here is genuine, lasting improvement. And check this out, because the difference here is all in the questions we ask. A blame culture points a finger and asks, who messed up? That question just leads to fear, people get defensive, and they start hiding information. But a blameless culture looks at the whole picture and asks, why did our system let this happen? See the difference? That question opens the door to finding the real vulnerabilities in your processes, your automation, your architecture. It leads to real learning. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? As soon as you stop hunting for a person to blame, you can start hunting for the real culprits, the weaknesses baked into the system itself. This is the big shift. This is how you build real, long-term resilience, instead of just slapping bandages on short-term problems. So, with that blameless mindset locked in, let's get into the blueprint itself. Think of this as your structured guide, the map that will take your team from that first moment of panic to real, concrete actions. Our blueprint is built on four main pillars. First, we establish a factual timeline. Then, we identify the root cause. After that, we uncover all the contributing factors. And most importantly, we create concrete action items. So let's break each of these down, starting with the timeline. The very first step is to create a timeline. But here's the key. No emotion, no blame, just the cold, hard facts. We're talking precise timestamps for every alert, every single action someone took, every key observation. This isn't about telling a dramatic story. It's about building a shared, objective record of exactly what happened and when. Okay, once we have the facts straight, we start digging for the root cause. This is where we play detective. Let's say the direct trigger, the what, was a bad configuration change that got pushed to production. Okay, great. But we can't stop there. We have to ask why our safeguards failed. Why didn't our validation scripts catch it? Why did our canary deployment process let it through? That's the real question. Now, this is super important, and it's different from the root cause. The root cause was the bad config push. The contributing factors are all the little things that made it possible. Maybe the documentation for that config was really confusing, or maybe the team was under a ton of pressure to ship fast, so they skipped a crucial review step. These things didn't directly cause the outage, but they basically created the perfect storm for it to happen. Okay, deep breath. We've done all the detective work, we've got our timeline, we have a root cause, and we have a list of all the things that contributed to the problem. But you know what? None of that matters if we don't actually do something with it. This is where we move from insight to action, and it's where the real work of building resilience truly begins. I mean, this slide says it all, right? A postmortem isn't just an academic exercise. Its value isn't in the document you create, it's in the changes you actually make. If there are no action items, you've just written a very detailed history report. It's a story, not a solution. So how do we make sure these things actually get done? You follow this simple cycle. Every action item has to be super specific. Not improve monitoring, but add a CPU usage alert for the payment service. It needs a single owner, because if everyone is responsible, nobody is.
It needs a clear priority and a deadline, or it'll just sit in the backlog forever. And finally, you have to track it to completion publicly. That creates the accountability you need to make sure these hard-won lessons actually turn into improvement.
All right, let's zoom out for a second and tie all these pieces together, back to our ultimate goal. Because this whole process isn't just about cleaning up after a mess, it's about fundamentally changing how your entire organization thinks about and handles failure. If you remember just one thing from all of this, let it be this. In the crazy complex world of multi-cloud, failure is going to happen. You can't prevent every single outage. True resilience is about building a system, and that includes your people and your code, that is optimized for learning. It's about making sure that you never, ever make the same painful mistake twice.
So I'll leave you with this question to chew on. Another outage is coming. It's inevitable. When it happens, is it just going to be another painful, costly fire drill? Or are you going to use a blueprint like this one to turn that failure into a powerful investment in a stronger, smarter, and more resilient system? Really, the choice is yours.